Do you want to become the richest player you can be in the Crew Motorfest, owning anything from the most expensive hypercar in the game to the more than $1 million jets? There are so many expensive vehicles in the Crew Motorfest, but what if I told you money was easy in this game? I imagine you would ask, well, Sid, how is that? Who are we kidding? You clicked this video because you already asked, what's the best way to make money in this game? Well, this guide is gonna have something for everyone, with a method for very beginner players. I'm talking you just launched the game. To intermediate players, to the expert players who finally have the parts, who have the skill and everything else they need to get as much money as possible. We'll be going from a free $1 million for anyone who starts the game to $1.3 million an hour. This is going to be the most comprehensive guide on money in the Crew Motorfest. So let's begin with this person right here. You just started the game. You got the screen where you select playlists, the ones you want to start with, whether you own a car for a playlist or you're starting one of the free ones. Forget it. The actual Motorfest player in me wants to tell you, hey, go and enjoy all the playlists, play them like they're a car Netflix experience, like you're going into shows that are giving you the vibe of all these different car niches. But the guide in me is saying, forget any of the playlists that the game might set you towards. What you want to go towards is over here on the second island in the game, the Luxury Chronicles Europe playlist. That is what your waypoint must be set to. Now, if you really are a beginner, you might not know what a playlist is. It's the main content in this game. Like I said, a car Netflix, you go to the start, you watch the intro video, and then you play through what are essentially mini niche stories in the Crew Motorfest. Each and every one based on different parts of the car world. The European luxury playlist being specifically based on exactly that. European luxury cars. But if you're a more experienced player, you might be thinking, hang on, Sid, doesn't that playlist require a very expensive car to begin? The answer is no. The European luxury playlist is a free playlist that you can start. Some playlists you need vehicles to begin. This playlist, you do not. So once you drive all the way over to the playlist, you can then begin it by watching the intro cutscene, and right after you finish watching that video, it will guide you to the first event. This one, France Gentilly. What you want to do here is just play through the entire playlist. Go in and drive all of these luxury cars that the game wants you to drive for this experience. This is actually one of the longer playlists in the game to finish, so there's actually a reason I am getting you to do this. Not only will this playlist teach you the ropes of different cars, of hypercars and street cars, but while most playlists will give you a car for the reward, this playlist gives you 1 million of the in-game currency. So right now, go and finish that playlist regardless of it being one of the longer ones. Then, once you've done that, find your way into the pause menu, go to the sidebar, and go to the shop. In Vehicle Catalog, you want to filter by vehicle category Alpha Grand Prix. These cars are the F1 cars in this game. And out of all of them, go and buy the Red Bull RB14 Disruption Edition. From the money of the playlist and the 1 million, this is the car we were doing that for. You, the beginner, will need this car if you want to grind money. That's check number 1. Check number 2 is to find your way to brand Cadillac. And once you're in Cadillac, you want to purchase the Cadillac Eldorado. The reason you're purchasing this car is because you will need that car to begin a playlist called the Vintage Garage playlist. I know you just finished playing a playlist, but you're gonna have to finish another. So drive your way over to the Vintage Garage playlist, begin it, watch the cutscene, and then just play through all the races in order like the game intends. And once you've done that, once you've finished the final race, your map will look something like this, with luxury Europe cars on one side and Vintage Garage on this side. You want to go to Kiss Me Combi. This is the race that is best for beginner players. Head over to the event, and once you've fully finished a playlist, every event completed and reward vehicle gotten, you can then go into an event and click event settings and switch it to custom mode. Main stage as well if you want to play that week's theme, but the one we want is custom mode. Set it to midday just for the better playing and dry weather, and head down to the bottom and set clean driving bonus. You may have experienced this in the luxury playlist. Clean driving will just give you more money if you don't touch anything while you're racing. There's also a boost if you do the entire race without touching anything, but in most of these events it's impossible. Once you've set that, you want to go into difficulty, and really this entire time you should have been playing with traction control on comfort, ABS on, ESP off. Those are the meta assists. I guess drift assist sport, but I only know ESP, ABS, traction control. And then vehicle, you want to click on the combi bus and switch it to that Red Bull Formula 1 car you bought earlier, the Disruption Edition RB14. You made your easy money with the European Luxury playlist, getting to play the game and just getting $1 million from that. Now we get to grinding. This is the meat of the beginner's guide. Not only do you get all your starting money from the Europe Luxury, then you begin grinding for whatever car you want from then. You have to play this race over and over and over again, and that's the best way to get money in the game. Because of the other AIs in this race, it will be near impossible to get a full clean driving bonus, but you'll still be able to get a little bit of extra money from having it on. Your car will also be bone stock, so I recommend playing on the lowest difficulty settings. However, you'll slowly get your F1 car ranked up while playing this, so focus on just getting the race done. It's point to point, there's no shortcuts, there's nothing, and every time you do it, those upgrades will go into your account. What I do is I play the race 3 times, and then I go check all my upgrades, and then I jump back into the race 3 times. That's just sort of my preferred way of doing it. So once you come to the end, you will finish the race and spam through anything it shows you until you're able to hit triangle, or Y on Xbox. As soon as you hit Y, boom, the race will restart, you do it again, and if your car isn't correct level, or maximum level, stop after your 3rd race, check your parts, put on your upgraded parts, as they'll go into your inventory. The bigger number, the better. And then with those upgraded parts, go back in and do more races, so you'll get quicker and quicker the more you do it. A last little note for beginner players is as you do this money method, you'll likely level up ever so slightly in whatever that month's main stage is. This is just a level up system in game. It's monthly based, so you get reset after every month because it's technically like Forza's seasonal. It's a new thing every single month with new rewards. Well, once you're grinding, at the end of the month, all of your level in that month will be converted to overall player level, and only at the end of that month. Then you can go into driver, you can go into legend points, and what you want to do is just put as many as you can in this top one, rich. That will just give you 20% extra bucks overall on the entire game earned. So make sure you do that as a beginner player. But obviously, like I said, that will only be possible at the end of the month where you started playing if you got a decent enough level. That was the beginner's guide. So we now switch to the intermediate player. Basically what the beginner should be doing after they've actually played a bit more of the game, got more experienced, or honestly, they could do Kiss Me Combi until they got to this point. In fact, I'm just here in the video right now, full screen, to better definitively separate these two methods. So, you've been grinding Kiss Me Combi or whatever it may be. If you are truly just willing to go from beginners to intermediate straight away, the point I would stop grinding Kiss Me Combi is when you, 1, have your Alpha Grand Prix car at the fully highest level it can be, is restriction 1 to stop Kiss Me Combi, and restriction 2 to be able to stop grinding Kiss Me Combi once you've maxed out your F1 car is you can afford the Porsche Taycan Turbo S. This really shouldn't take that long, especially if this is all you're doing. Just money and you're not spending your money anywhere else. Once you've purchased the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, make your way, especially if you still don't have fast travel, drive over to the Electric Odyssey playlist start location. Begin the Electric Odyssey playlist, watch the intro cutscene, and then drive to each event in order, playing through the story of it, the electric car journey, if you care much about electric cars. But importantly, you must finish every event in the playlist, because once you've done that, you then unlock custom mode. If you don't know what that is, refer to the beginner section of this guide. So then once you switch it to custom mode, you obviously gotta go to midday dry, and again clean driving. Once again, you won't ever really be able to hit this maximum, but you just gotta have clean driving on. And this method really is the bridge for both intermediate and beginner players, because if you are a beginner player, but from finishing the electric playlist, you will have gotten the Lotus Evija Pure Edition. This will be the car you should use. You got it just from finishing the playlist. And if you're following this guide to a T, it will be your only hypercar right now. However, either from grinding this method, or if you're already an established player with a fair bit of money, the car you want to go for is the Bugatti 110. While not definitively the best car in this category, it is the absolute best car for a beginner player. For the rest of the difficulty options, refer to my previous guide. However, in this event specifically, you want to make sure you have rewind off. That is important for this guide. When you have rewind off, instead of letting you rewind, the game will immediately put you in respawning mode, and that matters. Because if you played this playlist and thought, well, I know the Hummer event, Hummer Express, I know what to do for this route. You don't. This is what you should be doing. Immediately throttle and hard right, back to the road behind you. Once you're on the road behind you, you just want to follow the overhead corrected waypoint. This will lead you through this little city, at which point you take a left at the church, and then eventually you'll get to take a right towards the bridge. This shortcut works in a specific way, where you go right after these little huts. You want to get to this road here, and hover over the respawn, left a bit, and respawn there. Right after the fence. Then once you've done that, it's as simple as just driving over to the road. You can skip this little bit here by just driving straight. Stay on the road. Careful with the traffic, there will be a lot. Go around this turn as normal. And then once you're here, you just beeline it. After those trees, you just go directly for the finish line. Hypercars are rather controllable off-road, so just pelt it. And once you're at the finish line, you do what I said in the previous method. You restart it, spam the restart button until you're immediately able to restart, which will be here. But if you do not have a maxed out level hypercar, you should replay it 3 times, and then stop after the 3rd time, check your parts, put on the better parts, and then jump back into it and take the route again. But let's start speaking about parts. It's time I explain something to you that takes you from an intermediate player to an expert player, and is probably where we lose those beginners, because this will take a very long time. You need parts. And to figure out parts, I'm here to help. You can get parts from any manner of thing. They will be different rarities, from green to blue to purple to gold. And they will have affixes on them. Regular style affixes, where they have just different sort of power-up type things. It's a little silly, but you'll get 2 on purple parts, 1 on blue parts, and none on green parts. But gold parts are different in a specific way, because gold parts have a set bonus, which is different to the usual affixes. The set bonus cannot be changed or adjusted. So while you grind parts or combine lower level parts into gold parts, this thing is purely luck based. As you can see, there's a plethora that you can get. Skilled, Magnet, Loot Digger, but the one you want is Bucks Magnet. We then start looking at the whole roster of parts, because you'll keep looking for these gold parts, specifically Bucks Magnet ones, until you have 1 for each type of part. Again, this is all luck. Be that luck from the events you're playing, or luck from merging parts. you have to just hope you eventually get a Bucks magnet for all of these parts. Once you've done that, you want to go back onto those parts and start recalibrating. That's where you spend both money and spare parts that you get from destroying parts. You press to roll the dice and it gives you two options: a completely different power-up or the power-up you have at a different percentage. What you want to do is keep spamming that top power-up until you get either pure or rich. Then do the other one until you get the one you didn't get. So once you have both pure and rich on your parts, you then want to begin spamming the middle one till you get the highest possible number, that being 5% and 3%. And once you've done all that, that will take you from being just an intermediate money grinder back to a expert money grinder. You don't want to just do this on the Bugatti 110, but you want to do this, and this is where we let the beginners back in, on your Red Bull RB14 Disruption Edition. This should also have a fully maxed out Bucks magnet set, because this is for the expert method. You already know how to unlock playlists and custom mode. Well, we're going back to the intermediate method, Hummer Express. However, instead of using Hypercar, you want to use, as I explained, the Bucks Magnet fully maxed out set, Red Bull RB14 Disruption Edition, with custom, midday, dry, clean driving, and making sure in difficulty you have rewind off. This is still the absolute best money method in the entire game, generating 1.3 million bucks an hour. The method is, of course, you immediately want to turn around. I would say go lighter on the throttle because this thing will not grip up if you are fully aggressive on the throttle. And then follow the overhead waypoint through this city where you go left to the church and then right towards the bridge, the same way you do in the hypercar method. Then once you make it past the bridge, you wait till, ow, the huts. At which point, and again, be more careful, you go towards the trees onto this road above, and then just head all the way forward until you pass the fence and respawn right at the fence. Then make your way round the dirt road, light on the throttle because a spin out is very possible with cars like these. Beeline it straight ahead to get back to the road. You're careful. And now, this is where the method differs from the hypercar route. Because it's so inconsistent to do the other way, I keep going forward. And the way I turn is here. There we go. Right after that turn, instead of continuing around the straight road, I instead just beeline it for the finish line there. Ah, and I still span out, see? Oh, gorgeous run. But the good thing about this method is that because this way, you're on the dirt less. In fact, if you use these mounds next to you, you will barely be on the dirt and barely have to make any changes to get to the end. Less time on the dirt means less risk of spin out, means less off-road slowdown as you can gain speed in the air, especially if you angle your car forward so you dive down towards the floor once you're in the air. That, and then immediate restart, go again and again, and that will get you way more money than possible from any other event in-game. Thank you so much for watching. That's going to be about it from me. Head down there and subscribe if you want to catch more stuff on the Crew Motorfest and upcoming updates early, mind you, in a